Welcome back to Legalese 123, where we are covering cases across America. Hello and welcome back to Legalese 123. I'm your host, Missy K. I hope everybody is doing well on this Tuesday, the 3rd of March. So, as you may or may not have known, we had a moment of silence for Eric Richins. It is 4 years of the anniversary of the night of his passing. Some say we don't know exactly when he passed. We do know that he was pronounced on the 4th. So either way, we are still taking a moment for Eric. Sorry for the loss of the Richins family. And this is why we're having this trial. As you may know, Kouri Richins is the wife of Eric Richins. She is being accused of unaliving him with a fentanyl poisoning. She is also being accused of poisoning him with a breakfast sandwich on February 14th, 2022. That too also had some sort of either opioid or something in it, but we don't know for sure. And so we are in day 7 of the trial that is happening in Utah. So court is already in session. Let's begin our day. Let's see what we have going on.
Richins is present as well. I have a couple of administrative issues to ask about. Mr. Bloodworth, give me a preview of the state's witnesses today.
Yeah, let's have a preview.
Your Honor, beginning with the forensic accountant, Brooke Carrington. My sense is she takes most, if not all, of the day. But if we get on to additional witnesses, there is 3 witnesses related to insurance coverage that are lined up.
Okay, very good. With respect to Ms. Carrington, we'll need to have a plan for.
All right, so some days in trials, things are great and they're fun, and you get to hear all of the juicy gossip and stuff like that. Now we're getting into accounting, which is going to be a little bit boring, but you are going to see what the state is trying to prove is that she was underwater with her mortgage situation. They might also get into some other avenues. She is going to be most of the day. So how exciting. Let's continue.
Or a 404B instruction or instructions. I'd like to do that in an efficient way, Ms. Nestor. Have you given any thought about that?
No, Your Honor. We're just flying by the seat of our pants.
I have, and my initial thought was to do just a continuing objection to everything, but the reality is there's definitely things she's going to testify to that we agree are appropriate for this trial.
Did you see Mr. Bloodworth?
I have, and my initial thought was to do just a continuing objection to everything, but the reality is there's definitely things she's going to testify to that we agree are appropriate.
Everybody's like, Mr. Bloodworth, are you a vampire? Sorry. That's so funny.
This trial.
I'm just going to object to everything, Your Honor.
Things she's going to testify to that we don't think belong in this trial. So my thought, what I was planning to do is when she got into an area that we believe falls under our original motion in limine, and I would just stand up and say we object to 401, 403, 404B, and just make the record right then, no speaking objection, and then you can just rule. And I've made a contemporaneous objection at the time, and we don't have to stop and have arguments. I mean,
do you have? I feel like we veered into defendant preserving her record for appeal, and that's a different than my question. But we can start there and then go back to my question.
Well, I mean,
the 403 issue, put that aside. I recognize that it's possible that Ms. Carrington's testimony would get to the point where defendant would want to make a 403 objection based not on unfair prejudice, but on cumulative evidence, wasting time, things like that. And you won't know that till you see it come in. So put that aside. I've already ruled on the unfair prejudice piece.
Right.
I've already ruled on the 404B issue. I
Right.
need to give the jury a contemporaneous instruction, though, rather
Right.
than do it every 15, 20 minutes. I thought it might be better just to do it up front at some point. And it's how to do that in a way that's fair to both sides that I'm asking about.
Well, my concern about that would be that it would, if there's just a blanket instruction, they're not going to know which parts of her testimony that relates to.
Well, in the written jury instructions, I think we're going to have to tell them. We talked about this during the motions to eliminate hearing, that I think the 404B instruction will need to have some specificity about qualitatively this transaction or that transaction or this part of this transaction or this conduct in that transaction cannot be considered for, but can be considered for.
It's just that the expanse of what she's going to testify to is vast, right?
Well, maybe, I don't know.
She's going to talk about taxes. She's going to talk about business. She's going to talk about assets and liabilities. She's going to talk about.
Yeah, but not all of that is 404B information.
That's exactly my point,
Right.
Which it makes it complicated. I mean, if you're recommending that we start with just an admonishment that some of her testimony will involve, I just don't know how you do it before we get to the topic. It's so broad. I don't know how you would even word it. I mean, I'll happily sit down and try to work with the court and the state and try to come up with a broad admonishment for the beginning. I just don't know it's going to have much effect because she's going to be all over the place.
Well,
And there is a lot of what she's going to testify to that we're like, fine. I mean, it goes to motive. I'm
Yeah.
not going to be unreasonable. I recognize their theory. I disagree with it, but I recognize it. And if they're trying to establish, her financial condition at the time of death, I think that's going to come in. I'm not unrealistic about that. But I think she's going to go pretty far beyond that, right? So at that point, I feel like I'm going to want a contemporaneous objection, and I may want the court, because as you ruled, I think wisely in the motion to eliminate hearing, a lot of this you can't tell till you hear it as it comes in, because it may have a foundation and it may not. And if it doesn't, I may want to be heard at that time and say, look, we shouldn't even go into any of this because they haven't established how it's linked to motive. They haven't established how it's linked to relevance to this case because of the temporal distance, because it's so far removed from any argument of motive. And at that point, we may need to have a quick break and just talk about it. But I'm going to try to, not be unrealistic about what I expect you will allow in. But I also want the ability to object when I think she's gone way past what we're doing.
Okay. Can we have an agreement that there will be no speaking objection?
Yes, I wasn't planning on doing that anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
That may be the best we can do for now, Mr. Bloodworth. Any other suggestions?
And I mean, I'd say 4143444B, but I won't elaborate.
That's fine.
I've got to at least put some ground on the record.
Yeah, and just don't say the same three rules every time unless you mean it.
Okay.
Mr. Bloodworth, anything further on this? The hope was to try and not unnecessarily slow down the presentation of evidence, but it just may not be possible to do what I am suggesting.
Your Honor, I think it's possible. It's interesting. I don't know. I think the defense, by objecting all along, may draw attention to the amount of 404B evidence.
Well, they're allowed to make that choice, though.
So it seems to me if that's their choice, let's roll with it.
All right, we'll take it. We'll do it in real time. If we need to take a break and have a more fulsome conversation, we can do that.
Okay.
Okay. Very good. Mr. Bloodworth, anything before we invite the jury?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Nestor?
No, sir.
Okay. Take it, please.
All right, all rise. Court is in for the day. It is the 3rd of the March. Court in session. Mr. Bloodworth. That's what they want to do, Your Honor. It's going to bring more attention. But again, they want to object, let them object. All right, we are getting ready for some financial stuff. 27. Witness 27 is Brooke. We're going to hear all about money, 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 money. Half the people are standing, half the people aren't standing. All right, we're going to bump it up, but we don't know if we're going to be able to sustain this.
Folks, a quick
Because we're
scheduling note.
so close.
Tomorrow morning, we'll begin at 9:30 on Friday. No trial this week. So to the extent you want to make plans for tomorrow morning or for Friday, you have a little bit.
No trial Friday and tomorrow 9:30. All right. So they're an hour behind and no Friday. Well, that means we have Friday off. Woohoo! We'll have other things to cover, but yay!
Unexpected time.
Great.
All right, we will proceed with additional witnesses in the state's case in chief. Mr. Bloodworth.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Brooke Carrington.
Brooke Carrington is up next.
Ms. Carrington, if you'd step in front of Brittany, we'll get you sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the matter before the court to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, subject to the pains and penalties of perjury? Yes. Thank you. Have a seat.
Mr. Bloodworth. All right.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning.
What, ma'am, is your name?
Brooke Carrington.
Is that spelled Karrington?
Yes.
What do you do for a living?
I am a forensic accountant.
What is a forensic accountant?
Well, it is based on accounting, but it takes it some extra steps further than that. I look for a lot of the source of funds, the disposition of funds, what the transactions really mean, more than just the balancing of transactions and getting to a black and white number at the bottom. I try to understand more of the landscape and more of why things make sense and why they don't in the financial documentation that I look at.
More of a narrative?
Yes.
What, ma'am, is your education and training in forensic accounting?
I've been at this for 38 years, and I have a bachelor's in English, I have an MBA, and I have several certifications that support that.
Who's your employer?
I have a firm. It's a small firm. We're based in Salt Lake City.
Do you teach or present as it relates to forensic accounting?
Yes, I've presented many times over the years to Masters of Accounting students, mostly quite often at the business school at the University of Utah. And I am the adjunct professor of the fraud examination and forensic accounting course at the University of Utah's business school.
Did you also have a hand in developing the curriculum for that course?
I did. I created it from scratch. I got no help.
You had two hands.
2 hands.
Ma'am, have you testified as an expert before?
Yes, I have.
Have you testified in state cases?
State cases, yes.
Federal cases?
Federal cases, yes.
Have you testified on behalf of both plaintiffs and plaintiffs and defendants,
That's correct, yes.
and both the state and the defense?
Yes.
About how many times?
Hundreds. I don't know how many.
When did you begin testifying?
I think the first time I testified for real was probably in 1991 or 2, something like that.
And consistently since then?
Yeah, fairly consistently, yes.
Did the state engage you to forensically examine Kouri Richins' finances and related business practices leading up to and shortly after Eric Richins' death?
Yes.
And to value Eric Richins' estate at the time of his death?
Yes, that's right.
Did the state put any restrictions whatsoever on the scope of your forensic examination?
None.
Did the state restrict the time frame?
No.
Did the state restrict the types of transactions?
No.
The types of loans involved?
No.
Any restrictions at all?
No.
Did the state engage you on May the 31st, 2023?
Yes.
Is Summit County paying you for your time?
Yes, they are.
Are they paying you at your customary rate?
Yes, that's right.
Prior to the state engaging you, did you perform forensic accounting work for the estate of Eric Richins?
Yes, I did.
What accounting work did you perform for the estate of Eric Richins?
As I recall, most of the focus at that time was the use by Kouri Richins of the estates, the family money, and particularly the home equity line of credit that she had taken out against the home where the family lived.
Did there come a time when you stopped working for the estate of Eric Richins?
Yes.
When was that?
Well, I began working for them when Kouri Richins had filed a lawsuit against Katie Benson as the trustee of Eric's estate. And so that was the very end of April into May of 2022. And then I worked throughout that summer. And then at some point, the estate got new attorneys. And I had a Zoom call, maybe two, with them to kind of get them up to speed. And then after that, I didn't have a role in the case. I recall maybe they asked me for some follow-up to clarify some of the work that I'd already done. So it's really hard for me to determine exactly when I stopped working, but by the fall of 2022, I was done. I did have some additional kind of follow-up stuff. It's kind of a cloudy answer, but that's my best guess.
Did the estate of Eric Richins pay you approximately $14,000 for your services?
Yes.
After they paid you, did you have any further interaction with the estate of Eric Richins?
No.
Ma'am, what documents did you study to conduct your forensic analysis related to this case?
I've reviewed probably hundreds of thousands of documents and their deeds of properties, the loan agreements for the loans on those properties, loan agreements for a set of payday loans that Kouri Richins had, the UCC filings that are filed with the state of Utah associated with many of those loans, bank account statements for 27 accounts, and those include the family account that Eric Richins and Kouri Richins shared, from which they paid their household expenses, Eric's business accounts, Kouri Richins' business accounts, her personal accounts, checking accounts at American First Credit Union, Navy Federal Credit Union, credit card accounts, the home equity line of credit account. I also reviewed, were we just talking documents?
Yeah, let's continue with documents. Did you
Okay.
review any emails?
Tons of emails for many different purposes. I reviewed insurance policies and insurance payout documents, the estate planning documents like the will, the trust, the premarital agreement, the buy-sell agreement that Eric Richins and his business partner had for their business. I've reviewed the real estate purchase contracts, the REPCs for most or all of the properties, specifically the 12 or 13 on the Big Midway house.
Okay. Did you speak with anybody? Did you speak with anyone as part of your analysis?
I did.
Who did you speak with, or what types of people did you speak with?
Okay, so I interviewed a number of people, interviewed the CPA who had done tax accounting work for the Richins. I interviewed the realtor, Mike Monrose. I interviewed the insurance companies. I interviewed bank representatives. I interviewed lenders. I interviewed the prior owner of the Big Midway house, the current owners of the Midway house, the building department of Wasatch County, that's the permitting entity for the Big Midway house. I
Did
feel like
you-
I'm missing somebody, but
Did you interview any representatives from insurance companies?
yes, I did.
Counter, can we push for just a moment?
Oh, already having an issue. Oh, dear.
Someone's finance. Is your methodology or process for what, ma'am, is your methodology or process for forensically examining someone's finances?
My process usually
Foundation.
begins with the bank account statements because that tells a lot about a business or a person, and helps me understand the landscape of things and helps create a narrative, because those are the things where it tells me the source of funds, how much it is, how often it comes in, how it's used. And you think about someone who has young kids at home, their expenses are going to look very different than people who are later on in their life. And so it describes a lot. And then also what's left over at the end of the month, and what things look like over time. And that helps me understand then. I get to know an account specifically, and I get to know what's typical in that account. And then therefore it helps me understand what is atypical, so what's not typical. And it also helps me understand the different points along a chronology about what happened when, and that is also very informative.
Does that inform the narrative that you referenced?
Yes, it does.
Let's please now step through how you apply your methodology in this case, okay?
Okay.
Did you apply your methodology in this case by first analyzing Kouri Richins' bank accounts?
That was my beginning point, yes.
What bank accounts did she have?
She had her business account for Kouri Richins Realty, and that's at America First Credit Union. And we refer to the bank account number by the last four digits, just for brevity, 6577. And then she had a personal checking account at America First Credit Union that's technically a joint checking account. It was opened about the time that Eric and Kouri Richins got married. Over time, I can't see any indication that Eric ever even used that account. So that's what I refer to as Kouri's personal account, 5244. Her Navy Federal Credit Union account, there's a line of credit there and a checking account. The checking account especially is one that becomes important. The family account at America First Credit Union, that's where the household expenses were paid. It's a joint account. 2204 is that one. And then I know you asked me about Kouri's accounts, but I also looked at Eric's business accounts, 7664, and then he also had a personal account.
Let's go back to Kouri Richins' accounts.
Okay.
You mentioned business accounts. To analyze her business accounts, did you first have to understand her business?
Yes, that's helpful.
Scott, can I get 4-4, please?
Here we go.
Can you see 4-4? I'm sorry, I'm locked out here.
Yes, I can.
It requires a password, Your Honor.
Mr. Bloodworth, you cannot do your job.
Scott, can you scroll through that, please? Ma'am, do you recognize this document?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
And what is it?
This is the business registration that Kouri Richins Realty filed with the state of Utah. And this was returned in response to a subpoena that the prosecution sent to the state.
Your Honor, the state moves 4-4 into evidence.
No objection.
Stage 4-4 is admitted.
Your Honor, can the court publish it, please? Okay, ma'am. What, beginning with the header, does this document tell us?
It tells us the registration number, which is a number the state gives it. The business name is Kouri Richins Realty, LLC. It's a limited liability company. It was registered April 26th of 2019.
Page 2, Scott. What, ma'am, does this page tell us?
Well, it repeats the name of the business, Kouri Richins Realty. Article 2 shows that it's in the business of selling and buying real estate.
Did you investigate kind of what part of the selling and buying of real estate business Kouri Richins was involved in?
Yes.
What part?
Well, she's a licensed realtor, but mostly she's in the business of buying and selling real estate for the purpose of fixing and flipping it. So buying a home, remodeling it, rehabbing it, and selling it.
If you could look down at Article 3, what information does this provide?
This shows who the registered agent is, and that is Kouri Richins, and the 282 Willow Court in Camas is the family home.
Did you investigate whether K. Richins Realty used any additional business addresses?
Yes,
Did she?
yes,
Do you know that address?
yes. It's a P.O. Box in Camas, P.O. Box 759 in Camas.
Page 3, please, Scott.
Corey's not looking so well
What does
today.
Article 4 tell us?
Article 4 is the section where the members of that company are listed, and this lists Eric Richins at
Oh.
the family home.
Can we go back down, Scott?
What does that mean?
Next
He's a
page, please.
member.
What, ma'am, does this tell us?
So this is, as it states, the summary of the online changes. It's very typical for companies when ownership changes or the address changes that they can go into the portal and change things. So this shows that 4 days later, the previous member was changed to be Kouri Richins, removing Eric Richins.
Why?
So am I right then that the business was registered on April the 26th and then in Eric Richins' name, and then 4 days later, the member was changed to Kouri Richins?
That's right.
Going
Why?
forward, did the member remain Kouri Richins?
That's correct. I've checked it periodically and there have been no changes.
Is it unusual?
Thanks, Scott.
Why?
Ma'am, what in terms of financing and accounting is an alter ego?
An alter ego is where there are a couple of businesses or a business and a person that are so related that they're indistinguishable. And that can be the commingling of funds, or one relies so heavily on the other for capitalization. There's such a sameness that there's no distinguishing one from the other.
Did you analyze the relationship between Kouri Richins and K. Richins Realty to determine whether there are any indicators that they are alter egos of each other?
I did.
Are there any indicators?
There are many, yes.
And what are they?
The use of funds, the transfer of funds between the business and the person assist each other. There is a sameness, the same addresses are used, the same accounts are used. The business account is primarily for business, but there are many personal expenses that do appear there. And so, and the capitalization for the business squarely comes from the acts of Kouri Richins.
When analyzing Kouri Richins' business and personal accounts, what first struck you?
Well, I usually take a first pass and just to try and absorb things. And when I got to October of 2021, there are many transactions that didn't clear the bank. Either they didn't clear the bank without a fee. Some of them were overdrafted and paid by the bank, and some were just returned non-sufficient funds. Most of us know that as NSF. And the account was perpetually in the hole. Even though there was money coming in, it was going out at a very exhaustive pace. And then
Let me stop you there. We'll unpack this bit
Okay.
by bit.
Okay.
Scott, can I get 5-106 Delta, please? Ma'am, do you recognize this document?
Yes, yeah, my apologies.
Yes, I do.
Did you prepare this document?
I did.
What material did you use to prepare it?
This is drawn directly from the K. Richins Realty account 6577 at America First Credit Union.
State moves to admit 5-106 Delta.
No objection.
States 5.
I really think Mr.
106
Ramos.
Delta is admitted.
Can the court publish it, please?
Looks like Mrs. Nestor is the
let's
one
zoom
that's
in
going
on
to
this.
be
What-
cross-examining.
What generally does this exhibit depict?
So this is just the overdraft and non-sufficient funds transactions for each of these months, just in that one account. And so I started in January of 2021, and this follows through March of 2022.
Does this provide us, or does this tell us that for that 15-month period, there were 236 overdraft or non-sufficient fund transactions from that single account?
That's correct. So
And that the amount of transactions that tried to pass but didn't was $360,000?
that's right.
And that as a result of that, this account was assessed $5,600 in fees?
That's correct.
Does this exhibit provide you as a forensic accountant any information regarding trends?
Yes. as I mentioned before, I try to understand the chronology of things, and so understand kind of what is typical for an account. So when things change, I can understand that a little bit more, or at least seek to find an understanding of it. So if you go down the number of transactions column, what I did is just count up the number of transactions in a particular month, and you can see that for most of the year 2021, it's minimal, de minimis, not really that big of a deal, relatively speaking. And then in October through the end of March, it is a drastic increase in funds that did not clear the bank, or transactions that didn't clear the bank without a fee. And then if you go over to the amount column, that represents the amount. I just added up the transactions, the value of each transaction in each of those months. So like in November and December, those are separate buckets of transactions that she tried to pay without a fee, and that didn't happen. So 91,000 each of those months.
So let me just pick an example. December. Does this show that in December she had 77 overdraft or non-sufficient fund transactions totaling $91,000?
That's what that says. Yes.
And that cost $2,000 in fees.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that upward trend began in October and continued through March.
That is correct.
Did you trace these overdraft and non-sufficient fund transactions?
I did.
What did she use the money for?
A lot of them were debt payments or expenses that she either paid or attempted to pay to rehab vendors, like contractors and subs and trades for her properties.
Did she also try to pay herself?
Yes, she did.
Scott, can I get 5-109 Delta, please? Ma'am, do you recognize this document?
Yes, I do.
Did you prepare it?
I did.
What material did you use to prepare it?
This also drew from that same account at America First, the Kouri Richins Realty account 6577, and the personal account 5244 in some instances, and then also that Navy Federal Credit Union checking account for Kouri Richins.
The state moves to admit 5-109 Delta.
No objection.
5-109D is admitted.
Okay, can we go in, Scott, please zoom on that? Yeah, that kind of left-hand block. Perfect. What, ma'am, does this depict?
They are pairs. And so on the left hand, these are the checks that Kouri Richins wrote from her Navy Federal Credit Union account to herself and deposited them into the America First Credit Union accounts. And they were returned unpaid. They bounced. So
does this show that Kouri Richins wrote approximately $60,000 in checks to herself beginning in August of 2021 through May of 2022 that bounced?
That's correct.
Why?
And she wrote them from a checking account that had a balance of that had a balance that ranged between negative $51 and $29?
That's right.
Why?
So taking the December 23rd, 2021 line as an example, does this show that on December the 23rd, Kouri Richins wrote a check from her Navy Federal account for $10,000, deposited that in her America First Credit Union account at a time that she was $51 in the hole on her Navy account?
That's correct. She wrote two of those checks, the one for $10,000 and then the next one for $4,000.
Got it. And there was another $10,000 the next day, right?
That's right.
Thanks, Scott.
I wish they would explain why. If you're writing yourself a check from an account that you know that doesn't have any funds in it to another account, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Okay.
It's frozen up. No problem. Let's fix it. One moment, please.
Hang on. I want to see if I can switch feeds. Only because I want to screenshot and grab those so I can post them. To see if I can Okay. Up. Come on. Why it's not giving it to me. All right. Hang on. Well, I don't know why it's so blurry on this one. All right. I wish Court TV would get rid of their crap.
Scott, if you unplug and plug back in.
The people at home want to play.
Analyzing the non-sufficient and overdraft fund transactions. That beginning in October, there was an increase in the number of overdraft and NSF transactions. Did that cause you to then drill down into the October through March bank statements?
I did, yes.
Right.
Scott,
What's
can
going
I
on in
please
October?
Get 5-29 Delta. Echo. Foxtrot. Golf. Hotel. Ma'am, do you recognize Exhibit 5-29B through H?
Yes, I do.
Generally, what are they?
They are the America First Credit Union bank account statements for the Kouri Richins Realty account 6577 from October 21 to February 22 that America First Credit Union responded pursuant to a subpoena from the prosecution.
Your Honor, the state moves Exhibits 5-29D through H into evidence.
No objection.
5-29D through H are admitted.
Scott, can we bring up, please, 5-29D to publish? Ma'am, for those of us whose spouses handle the banking, what are we looking at?
Oh.
This is a bank account statement.
What I'd like to do is, well, did you analyze this bank account statements and the others did you analyze them?
Yes, I did.
If agreeable, can you maybe grab, there's a hand mic up there.
That's okay. If you promise to stay tethered to the podium and turn your lav off, this will work.
I just turned it off. Yeah.
Thanks, Judge.
Ms. Carrington, what I'd like you to do, please, is walk the jury through how you analyze this bank statement. Oh, we have a pointer.
And I don't really
Please ask Scott to blow it up, highlight it.
Okay. This is where, Scott, would you please, let's start with the header. I don't know. Okay, so this is the header that shows. Scott, am I doing this right? Okay, this is the header. So this will show the owner of the account. This is Kouri Richins Realty LLC. This is that PO Box 759 in Camas that we talked about. And then this is the account statement for October 31st of 2021. Here's the account number 6577. And then this section below is the summary account, the summary of the account. So there's a share savings that is reported on this bank account statement along with the checking account. And it shows at the end of the month, these two accounts were in the negative 1,684.75. So this is that same
Let's
month
see that.
we've just been talking about. And so then I would start to look at the transactions. So Scott, can we do the body, please? Maybe just the checking is fine. Okay, so what happens here is we have the posted date. The effective date is like the date of that the transaction came through, and then the posted date is when it is posted to the account. So you can see in the body here under the description, some of them are very descriptive, and you can tell who the payee is. That's the entity who receives the money on this transaction. Some do not. They say bank-to-bank transfer, and we'll go back to that in a little bit. And then you go over here to the transaction amount. I'm just going to skip it. Excuse me. You go here to the transaction amount, and these are negatives, meaning they're paid out of the account. And if they do not have a negative here, that's a deposit into the account. And then on the far right is the running total balance of the account. Sorry.
I have.
Let's go through each transaction.
Okay, Scott, can we go to the next page, please? So, oh, I'm sorry. Can we back up a little bit? Back to the first page, transactions. Sorry. Okay, so this part here, down here, these automatic withdrawals. Chemical Bank is the payment on a HELOC. It's usually more than $100, but that's what that is. And then the Delta Bridge, Blue Bridge, Fairmont, and Zahava are going to become familiar names. Those four I could see posting on October 1st. And then Scott, could we please go to the second page? And then you can see that those, we'll get to those in a second. She also has Boomerang ×3 and Fund Fi. And so the Boomerang ones we can describe in a minute are
Wow.
property payments that are monthly. And this Fund Fi is $3,107 that she obligated to pay every single week. Can we go down to the bottom, please? Okay, stop. A little bit up, please. Okay, right there is good. Okay, so remember those names from before. We can get to here. Remember these four names, Delta Bridge, Blue Bridge, Fairmont, and Zahava. Those were paid on October 1st. They're also paid on October 4th, down here on October 5th, and then on October 6th. These are four payday lenders. They're accounts receivable loans where she's committed to pay every single day these amounts over here. So $2,100 a day plus the other ones that we've noted. And so.
Sure. Are you also, well, go down and if you could also, what if anything are you seeing about, I gotta be tethered. What if anything are you seeing about the balance history as you're looking at this?
So I'm looking here. Let's see if I can get this to go over to the running total over here.
Okay. Payday loans are bad. Don't do it. I mean, if you're ever in financial trouble that you need to get a payday loan, don't do it. Well, you shouldn't be in financial trouble that you're getting a payday loan to begin with. But I want to know why she got the payday loans.
On the side.
Why is she robbing Peter to
You
pay
can
Paul?
see at the top of where we're looking here, she gets down to about $2,600 in the account. And then here comes $16,800 into the account, bumps it back up. And then there's those daily payments that she has to pay. And then she gets another bump of $18,900. And then down here at the bottom, you see this $39,000 coming in. That's a deposit from Merchant Capital. So those are representing incoming funds to the account. And so that caused me to look at where those are coming from, especially these that say just the bank-to-bank transfer up here. I'm sorry, this is not working. This bank-to-bank transfer here, this bank-to-bank transfer here. So where did those come from? And so that caused me then to look at the UCC filings.
Yeah, what's the bank?
Scott, can you go to the next page, please? Does that trend of automatic withdrawals to service debt just continue throughout the month of October?
Yes, it did. You can see, again, the same devices, and I don't agree. I'm so sorry. Okay, you can see the same payments here. Then she's added a few. Here's the Advantage platform is a new one. And then you go down here, Fund Fi Merchant is a new one. Clean Rest Capital is one that she's been paying for a while. And this one will be significant. Kind of put a pin in this one, $5,438. So she's got all these others that are daily payments. Fund Fi and Greengrass Capital are weekly payments. And so what I started to do was calculate how much were these debt payments and who were these lenders, what are these loans? And so she's obligated herself on these, the consistent for of $2,100 every day. So that's about $10,000 a week. And then she adds the Fund Fi for $3,100 and the Greengrass for $5,438. And that's every single week she has to come up with that money just to stay current and avoid default, because the default clauses on all of these, they're already starting at high interest rates. But if they go into default, the interest rate almost doubles.
And then, ma'am, what else as we go through? We can just go down maybe, Scott, to the end of the statement, just scroll through so we can look at the balance history. What is the balance history, if anything, telling you?
Well, the balance history fluctuates greatly, right? And it hovers into the low figures, and then it goes into the negative. And then this is what I'm talking about, where you see here, like on, starting on about October 13th, these start to be overdrawn, and they were paid initially. And then you look over here at the account balance, it starts to go into the negative. And so then that, if you, let's go to the next page. Just maybe start at the top. And so then you can see here that the top ones were returned. They incurred a fee. She's got a little bit of money coming in, but not much. And then can we scroll down, please? And then this just really caught my eye that something obviously was going on at this time. Here she's trying to pay for business expenses, for debt payments, a couple of personal expenses, and these are all being returned. And she's $6,000 in the hole at the end of this page. Can we go to the next page, please? Here she has a new deposit from a new lender, One Main Financial, on October 20th for $31,680. And then she used that money, as you can see, you just pay attention to the balance on the right-hand side. She used that to pay debt. And then you can also see here on the 20th, she's got CashNet USA, which is a new one. Can we scroll down a little bit more, please? Oh, let's stop here. Right here on October 22nd, this bank-to-bank transfer, she's got $77,000 that comes in here. This is where she's sold one of her properties. So in addition to selling her properties, and she's got the accounts receivable loans, the payday loans, she has money coming in. But then I started to look at the velocity, how quickly, how long did that money last? And so if we keep scrolling down, you can see, and can we continue, please? Next page. She pays for some rehab expenses for painters and things like that. She's managing the business using some of her revenues from her sales of properties, but then she's also incurring more and more debt because it's not enough. And you can see here on October 27th, she's got a new one for QSF Capital. And this payment, so there's QFS Capital. This lender gives her the income in stages. And then you see down, Scott, can you highlight October 27th where QFS Capital, down, that one, please? The $1,689.75. And that's a payment that she needs to pay every day in order to stay current on that. So that's on top of the other loans that she already has to pay. You can see down on the 28th, the very bottom line of this screen, on October 28th, you can see another payment right there for QFS Capital of $1,689.75. And so then back to my process, I start to look at this and try to understand where this money is coming from, who these lenders are, where the money is going to, and what's the end game.
Perfect. Okay. Okay, ma'am, that was the October statement, correct?
Excuse me, yes.
My fault.
Fine.
We're not going to go through November, December, January, February, but let me ask you, do those months present the same as October?
Yeah, in the fundamental nature, yes.
And by fundamental nature, do you show that Or do you mean that she had similar debt service throughout that time period?
Similar, yes. I mean,
Did you
there
ever
are
catch up?
changes, of course, but yes, the same fluctuations in the bank account, the same in, adding new lenders consistently and using a lot of the new money to pay for debt.
Do those other statements present the same low balance history?
Yes,
Does she deplete whenever she receives funds into the account? Does she deplete them with similar velocity?
Object to leading.
Overruled.
yes,
So you just said that analyzing this statement caused you to caused you to next analyze her debt. Is that right?
that's right.
Let's turn there, please. Scott, can I get 5-13 Delta? And I think there are 4 pages. If you could scroll through them, please. 5-113.
Oh, girl. You in danger.
Ma'am, do you recognize that?
Anybody ever watch Ghost? Where she goes, Molly, you in danger, girl. I probably didn't do it correctly, but danger, danger, danger. Do not take money out that you cannot cover.
I do.
Did you prepare it?
I did.
What material did you review to prepare it?
So this was a combination of the bank account statements, the loan documents for the accounts receivable payday loans, the credit card accounts, her lines of credit at different banks, and the home equity line of credit.
Your Honor, the state moves to admit
Oh.
5-113 Delta.
No objection.
5113D is admitted.
Can we please publish the first page?
Oh man,
Ma'am, what does this?
this isn't gonna go well.
So in that same time period as before, starting in January of 2021 through March of 2022, the total debt she owed on
Uh-oh. 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 Hang on, let's see if the other one is having a glitch. Let's just go quickity quick. All right, sorry. I don't know why it's glitchy. Okay. I don't know why. And this one's not caught up to the same thing. Oh. Oh, I just went so... Okay, here we go. Okay. Let me switch and see if we can get this one. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Oh. Sorry. Oh, let me go back. Ah.
F hasn't been offered yet.
And the home
Sorry.
January of 2021 through March of 2022, the total debt she owed on real properties, the credit accounts, the credit cards and her lines of credit, and the account receivable loans, the payday loans that we've talked about.
Does this show that on March of 2022, she owed $7.5 million and was paying approximately $80,000 a month towards that debt?
That is what that shows, yes.
Scott, can we
Holy
split
smokes.
screen, please? Delta with Foxtrot.
So my question is, how? How does somebody, my screen is messed up. How does somebody how do you get that far? Like, don't you, is this where she switched out Eric's information for her information to get the loans? I'm sure they'll answer the question. How does somebody get so far into debt?
Which Foxtrot?
113?
Corey, you should have listened
113?
to
Oh,
to
113
Katie.
we
hasn't been
split them
offered
out,
yet.
or they two?
when Katie said, "Why are you closing on this house?" I mean,
113
you're
hasn't been offered yet.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, they were a package. They're marked
Oh.
as one.
Was that D or 113? Can we have a more clear record on
Sure.
that? 113. I admitted 113D. Ms. Nestor
I've
didn't object.
I've confused the record.
Okay,
Let me try again.
please.
Scott, can I get the first page split with the third page?
Understood.
Sorry.
Tell me
Ma'am,
more,
what does
Mr.
this
Bloodworth.
depict?
So this is just a graphic depiction, a line graph that uses the information from the chart. And
Go ahead.
sorry, the orange line along the bottom is the total debt paid. And then the blue line above is
Keeps
the
growing.
total debt owed. And this is for, again, all the real estate, all the lines of credit, credit cards, and the payday loans.
Golly. Oh my gosh.
Does this exhibit show that between January 21 and March of 22, her debt was generally increasing except for a dip between, call it August and February?
That's correct.
And that whole time, the amount she was paying to service that debt remained generally the same except for a blip in April of 2021?
That's right.
Scott, can I get page 2 of this exhibit, please? And we can take down page 3. Ma'am, what does this depict?
This is that same concept. I just wondered if we might want to discuss this without the real estate. So this is just the loans, the lines of credit, the credit cards, payday loans. So I've just taken out the loans on the properties.
So does this, for example, show that in March of 22, she owed $800,000 in non-real estate debt?
That's what this shows, yes.
And she was also that month paid about $80,000 to service the debt,
That's right.
which is about the same
Ah.
$80,000 she was paying to service everything.
It is the same. Well, and for most of her real estate loans were balloons. So her notes were balloons, like a 6 months. She'd borrow here and they did not require monthly pay. Most of them did not require monthly payments. And so that's why you'd see the same numbers there.
Scott, can we split that with page 4, please?
Oh, darling.
Is this again then the graph of what's on the left-hand side?
That's right. So the same concept, just without the loans on the real estate.
The total debt owed seems to flatline about October 2021.
Yes, it pretty much does. Yeah.
Why?
There are a lot of reasons why. I don't know all of them. It looks to me like she's just exhausted her funding sources, and there are very few new funding sources that kind of come in after that first period. You know, we talked a lot about some of the new ones. Kind of after that, there weren't a lot of new ones. And so that's the explanation I believe is correct.
Thank you, Scott. Does understanding Kouri Richins' debt narrative begin with any particular loan?
Yes.
What loan?
When she started her business, the home equity line of credit that was taken out in March of 2019.
What is a home equity line of credit?
So it is a loan, but the funds are held and they're available for a borrower to draw from as needed. So it could sit there just as an open line of credit and not be used. And it's based on whatever equity that someone has in their home.
Okay. So if I'm understanding her, she's saying that when she opened up her business in 2019, March of 2019 is when I didn't write down the date when she opened up her business. Shoot. Okay. So when she opened up her business, it seems to me that she got a line of credit on her house. So she was already underwater before she started.
And was the home involved the home that she and Eric Richins and their children lived in?
Yes, it did.
Scott, can I get 6-1, please?
Oh,
Ma'am, do you
darling.
recognize this agreement?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
This is the warranty deed from November of 2012, in which Eric Richins took ownership of the property that he bought from Clint and Katie Benson. This is the Willow Court home.
Your Honor, the state moves 6-1 into evidence.
They do like a quitclaim deed, a warranty deed.
State 6-1 is admitted.
Scott, if you could zoom in on kind of the top half. Ma'am, what information does this provide?
So the warranty deed is a transfer of ownership. And so shows that Clint and Katie Benson previously owned the property, and Eric Richins is the new owner of the property. Lot D11 Wild Willow subdivision is the part of the legal description. And then finally, there is the date of November 9th, 2012.
Was this the warranty deed in place on the home at the time the HELOC was taken out?
Yes.
Ah.
Thank you, Scott. Can you please bring up 5-4?
So this is if your name's not on the deed, you no takey the money out. You no takey loan out. She falsify his name. Oh, let's see.
Your Honor, we would, at this point, lodge a 404B objection to this document and all the testimony that flows from it.
Would you approach, please?
his tone is like, we talked about this. Can you approach? That is so vague. That is so vague. And not only that, but your standing objection was supposed to be like objection 4043B. Oh dear goodness gracious. Oh my goodness. I don't even know if this, oh, I don't even have this on the right playback. It's okay. We'll do 120. Oh my goodness gracious. Woman.
Any objection, Ms. Nestor?
Just same objection, but I understand what was said at the bench.
Okay. States 5-4 is admitted. I'll publish it now.
Okay, this
Scott,
is
if you
the
could zoom in, please, on that top third. Yep.
deed to house.
Ma'am, what is this?
This is the HELOC, the home equity line of credit. This is the agreement that kind of outlines the terms of the loan.
And who does it?
His
identify
borrower
as
is
the
Eric.
borrower?
Eric Richins,
And what does it identify as the credit limit on the loan?
$250,000.
Oh, dearest me. Corey.
Scott, if you can scroll down, please, to the
Corey.
first signature. Actually, maybe the only signature. Can you zoom in on the signature, please? Ma'am, who does this show signed as the borrower?
The borrower was Eric Richins, but signed by Kouri Richins as attorney in fact.
What the hell does that
And
mean?
she signed as attorney in fact for Eric Richins on March the 19th, 2019?
Yes.
Thank you. Scott, please. 5-89 Delta.
Oh boy.
Ma'am, do you recognize this document?
I do.
Did you prepare it?
I did.
What material did you use to prepare it?
I used the HELOC statements from TCF Bank / Huntington Bank.
Your Honor, the state moves to admit 5-89 Delta.
No objection.
5-89D is admitted.
Ma'am, what does this depict?
So along the top are the months, every other month, but each bar represents a month. And the negative numbers indicate the balance of the loan as of that month. So for example, on March 1st, well, March of 2019, there was a draw of $60,000 shortly after the loan was approved. And so that stayed at that balance for a few months. And then following that, every month I've just taken the balance of the account and depicted it in a bar.
And the bars go downward because this is a negative number. It's the amount owed.
That's right. And so I've got like on the left-hand side, those are negative numbers. And you can see that negative 250,000, that's the limit, the credit limit of this loan. And so you can see relative to the credit limit where the balance was in any given month.
What did you determine was the balance on the HELOC at the time of Eric Richins' death?
At the time of his death, it was over its limit, $254,000.
Did you analyze the payments made towards this balance?
Yes.
You mentioned the 60 was a draw. So what did your analysis show regarding payments?
With the exception of one, the payments were interest-only payments, so the minimum payment. And then you can see in October of 2020, there's a rise in the balance. There was a $50,000 payment made in October 2020. And so that's why the balance is different there. And then by the June and July of 2021, it was at its balance or exceeding.
So am I right then that but for the one $50,000 payment in October 2020, the only payments were minimum monthly interest payments?
That's correct.
Were you able to trace the HELOC draws to see where the money went?
Yes.
What did you determine?
They were by and large for rehab expenses related to Kouri Richins projects.
Let me back up half a step. When you analyze the payment history, what were the source of the payment? What was the source of the payments?
The source of the payments that made those interest-only payments and the $50,000, those were from the K. Richins Realty accounts and sometimes from the Kouri's personal checking 5244 from America First.
So am I right then that the money was drawn from the HELOC to support Kouri Richins' business, and the payments were made from Kouri Richins to the HELOC?
That's correct.
Any transaction history involving Eric Richins?
Not that I could see. I've looked at every transaction available. I couldn't see any.
Thank you, Scott. Can I get 5-6, please?
Holy smokes.
Sorry, Scott. Let me work on that.
So I'm thinking like long term, right? So they currently still have the house. The Eric's trust still has the house. It's just sitting there because we know as of just a couple of weeks ago, the police went in there to go investigate something else. So I'm assuming that the house is just sitting there as a memorial until this case is over, and then they'll figure out what they're going to do with the house. I venture to guess that there's a lien on the house, right? The HELOC loan that she has on this house for $254,000 plus whatever interest and everything that's not getting paid, right? So however much of that is, that they can't do anything with the house. They eventually probably have to sell the house. And then if selling the house is, oh my gosh. Well, if Eric had a loan on the house and then they have the equity loan, those loans, all that has to be paid off before any of extra funds can be put into the trust. If any, I don't know if we'll get there, but just like, it just baffles my mind. Goodness gracious. My mind is blown
If you would
already.
briefly disconnect and reconnect so I can see your connection again. Thank you, sir. And there you go, Mr. Flynn.
So people might ask why, when they're doing these exhibits and stuff, do they have to connect and reconnect, whatever? I'm assuming that maybe security purposes and what have you, if they're like idle for so long, that they kick them out. But I like the security that they're using.
Scott, can you scroll through that, please?
Would you scroll through this one more time for me, Scott?
Hey, can you stop there for just a minute?
One more page. Okay. I now understand. Go ahead.
Ma'am, do you recognize this document?
I do.
What is it?
This is the original draw of $60,000, a copy of that. And this was from TCF National Bank / Huntington Bank in response to a prosecution subpoena.
Your Honor, the state moves to admit 5-6.
No objection.
5-6 is admitted.
Scott, if you could zoom in on the check. Ma'am, who's the check made out to?
It's payable to Eric Richins.
Do you know why?
Object to speculation.
Really a little foundation.
Ms. Carrington, who was the home equity line of credit? Who was the borrower for the home equity line of credit?
Eric Richins.
Is it typical for the borrower to be the named payee on draws of an account?
Yes,
Did you trace where the $60,000 went?
yes.
Thank you. Scott, can I get 5-7?
Your Honor, at this point, I renew my 404B objection.
Would you folks approach for a second?
Like every time. So I had wondered if the Richins family would be in court today. I assume the answer is yes, especially when the financial stuff is coming in, because you know that Katie Richins Benson worked really hard. Why are you looking so hard at the defense?
Forgive me, Mr. Bloodworth, did you move to admit 5-7?
I did not. I do so now.
Okay. Any additional objection, Ms. Nestor?
Not other than what I've already covered, Your Honor.
Okay. 5-7 is admitted. There you go.
Ms. Carrington, what are we looking at?
This is the bank account statement from America First Credit Union for Kouri Richins. This is that personal checking account 5244 for April of 2019, which would have covered the March of 2019 transactions.
And did you trace that 60,000 draw that we just looked at into this account?
I did.
Can you please show us where it lands in this account?
Yes, I think it's the second. If you can see on March 29th, there's a deposit of $60,000 into the account.
Did you then trace the funds from that account?
I did.
Where did the funds go?
Basically for rehab expenses and debt payments. Well, yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Scott. Scott, can I get 6-23D, please? Ma'am, do you recognize this document?
I do.
Did you prepare it?
I did.
What material did you use to prepare it?
I used the loan documents for the different properties, the deeds, the warranty deeds and trust deeds for the properties, the bank account statements for K. Richins Realty and Kouri Richins. I think that's it.
Your Honor, the state moves to admit 6-23 Delta.
It's just the one page, right?
It is.
No objection.
6-23 Delta is admitted.
Ms. Carrington, what does this depict?
This is what I've called a purchase timeline, and it depicts the purchase of the properties in these years by K. Richins Realty and Kouri Richins.
Whoa. Oh, hang on.
Richins.
We have to go back. Ah. Oh, darling. Oh, no. Oh, Kouri. You are a smart girl. Oh, you are a smart girl. Why?
By
Get
Kouri Richins
greedy.
Realty and Kouri Richins.
Why do you have, why? Why?
What trend information, if any, does this depiction provide?
Well, the numbers of, there are a couple of things. The numbers of projects from 1 in 2019 to 5 in 2020 to 15 in 2021, and then finally the one large project in 2022. And then also the aggregate amount. So this is based on the purchase price. So she purchased one for $215,000 in 2019, and then when you get to 21, it's 6.7 million for all of those projects.
Wow. Why?
What does your teaching and training tell you about, if anything, about rapid growth in a business?
I look at a lot of businesses, and it doesn't matter what kind of industry or what kind of business or what kind of solvency they have. Managing growth is really challenging, and managing this kind of exponential growth is challenging for any kind of a business. And so this depicts that, I mean, you don't really need to know much else, but to see a growth from 5 projects to 15 from one year to the next, or 2.2 to 6.7 in 1 year, that presents a challenge for anybody.
Did you analyze each
Golly.
of the purchases depicted here?
Yes, I did.
Scott, can I get exhibit 6-24 Delta, please? Ma'am, do you recognize this?
I do.
Did you prepare it?
I did.
What material did you use to prepare it?
A lot of those same documents, a lot of the deeds, the warranty deeds, trust deeds, the trust deeds show or reflected of the loan. So all the loan documents, the primary lender, all the second, third, and fourth lender, position lenders that I call rehab lenders, the settlement statements for the purchase, the settlement statements for the sale, and then what the rehab expenses were. And for that, I've used what Kouri Richins reported to her tax preparer, and then I did an analysis of every transaction in her accounts to understand what the expenses
We'll get there
were.
in a minute. Thank you.
Okay.
I want to admit it first.
Sorry.
Your Honor, the state moves to admit 6-24 Delta.
No objection.
6-24D is admitted.
Scott, can you show that in split screen 2 pages?
Mr. Bloodworth, for me personally, will you identify a spot where we can take a restroom break?
Yes, Your Honor, I got to plan it out right after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, do each of these columns, and we're going to drill down in some here in a minute, but do each of these columns vertically depict one of those transactions, one of those
Yeah.
property transactions?
Yes, each column is one property.
Scott, let's zoom in on the far left column and the first property. Can you please explain to the jury what that far left column, purchase, sale, rehab expenses depicts?
Yes. So at the top, it's the 550 house. The address is 550 and 550, and it's in Heber. So I call it the 550 house. It was $215,000 to purchase.
I'm sorry, ma'am, let me stop you. I mean, I'm one column to the left.
Oh, sorry. Okay. The first section is the purchase. So that's the purchase, what she borrowed to buy it, and there were other funds that she borrowed, and then the closing costs. And so the equity in the property at the time of the purchase.
Okay. And then what's the next column? The next section, the sales section?
That's so when she sold it, what was the sales price? She had to repay those borrowed funds. If I knew the closing costs, I've included them. If I haven't, if I wasn't sure I had the final settlement statement, I didn't include it. And then I get what the net proceeds were at the time of the sale. So that would have been the amount that landed in her bank account.
Okay. And then the bottom rehab expenses section. What is that and how did you calculate it?
So the rehab expenses, as I said, that she reported some to her tax preparer, her CPA, and most of the times I went back to her bank account and I looked at her memo notations about which project a specific expense was for. They're not all labeled.
Let me stop you there. Why did you not use the expenses that she gave to her tax CPA?
They were not correct.
Okay.
Objection, Your Honor, can we approach?
That's what I thought. Ooh. Okay. I don't know about you, but so far I'm like, Kouri, you are terrible with money. You have already started off by robbing Peter to pay Paul. Now, understandable. Is everybody a whiz bang? No. But, you can't cheat. Well, I mean, you can, but you shouldn't. You shouldn't cheat. Wow. Okay. Let's zoom. Holy smokes, girl.
Tax accountants, because okay, ma'am, you said you did not use expense reporting to the tax accountants because they were inaccurate. How then did you determine the rehab expenses?
So I went through every transaction in that Kouri Richins Realty 6577 account. And I looked at the check copies and I looked at the notations. Sometimes the transactions
Wow.
had a notation or a payee in the body of the statement. So I took those, and quite often Kouri Richins would write on a check, this is for Mill Creek, or this is for Centerville, or is this for Sandy? And so then I've taken those at face value, and it's a sorting exercise. So that's how I arrived at this number.
It's a lot of
Were
work.
you able to allocate all rehab expenses to particular projects?
I was not.
Right.
So if it's shown in the accounting for one particular project, you can definitely trace it to that project.
Based on Kouri Richins notations, yes.
And by using the approach of not allocating expenses unless you were certain, is that a conservative approach to accounting?
Back to leading.
Let's let him finish the question, then I'll rule on it. Would you state it again for me, sir?
By not allocating expenses to a particular project unless you could trace them to that project, is that a conservative accounting approach?
It is.
Overruled.
Does it underestimate the expenses for one particular project?
It does. For example, in 2021, there's $400,000 of expenses that I can tell go to trades or vendors, her subs, for projects, but I can't tell what project they're for. So there's $400,000 in 2021.
So that 400,000 doesn't even appear on this entire chart,
That's right.
but you know they were expenses towards rehab.
They were the same payees. So yes,
You also mentioned that you didn't include closing costs at sale unless you were certain of them.
right. Because there are different versions, different draft versions of a settlement statement, and they change as the title company's trying to get to the final number. So if I wasn't confident that was the final one that I had, then I've left that blank.
Now let's talk about the net proceeds, the 100, let's go into the 550 house. That's just the first one. We'll take it as an example, okay?
Okay.
So she purchased that house for $215,000, is that right?
That's right.
And she borrowed $221 initially on it.
Yes.
She had $7,000 in closing costs.
Yes.
So does that first total negative $13,800 show that the minute she closed on the house, she was $13,800 in the hole?
That's right.
And is that why it is color coded red on your chart?
Yes.
Okay, and then she rehabbed it
That's correct.
and she sold it. And she sold it for $404,000.
Yes.
But she had all kinds of transaction costs. She had to repay borrowed funds. She had closing costs, perhaps none on this project. And at the end of the day, when she sold it, what amount of money hit her bank account?
$145,802
And how do you know that?
because it hit her bank account.
And can you see it in her bank account statements?
Yes.
Now, we get down to the rehab expenses for the 550 house, that column. You were able to trace 98,000 to it.
Yes.
There may be more out there, but you were only able to trace 98,000 to it.
Yes.
So for this project, she made, it appears, based on your conservative accounting, $47,000.
Right, and I have that in gray because so much of the HELOC funds were used for this project. She bought this, she had the HELOC in March, and then she started drawing on it again when she bought this property in August of 2021. And I believe that some of those funds were, I don't want to double dip. So
Okay.
I've left it gray.
So because it's gray, she made $47,000 or less on this house.
Yeah, and I think she probably made a profit, bottom line profit on this house.
Let's turn to one more example, please, okay? Scott, can I get the Mill Creek example? Okay. Make sure we all understand. She purchased, does this say that she purchased the Mill Creek house for $650,000?
Yes,
And that she borrowed 3 times right away, $721,115 and 41.
yeah, so she bought this in March. So the borrowed funds of 721 is what she borrowed out of the gate. And then the 115 came a few months later.
Okay. And how about the 41?
And that was also a few months later.
So kind of equity at the time of purchase or within a few months of purchase, she was $228,000 in the hole on this house.
Yes,
She sold it for $115,000, or sorry, $1,115,000.
that's correct.
But she had closing costs. She had to repay what she bought on it. And she had $836,000 in costs unrelated to the rehab. Is that correct?
Right, that's just the loan. And you'll notice that the repayment of borrowed funds is the same amount as the borrowed funds above.
Right.
So I'm sorry, I can't remember exactly why I did that, but that is, interest should be on top of that. So that's a conservative amount. There should be interest payment or interest costs.
Why did you not include the interest costs?
I can't remember. I had a reason and I can't remember.
But your reason at bottom was it was conservative to not include them?
It was, she had to repay at least what she borrowed.
Okay.
So
But at the end of this transaction, when it closed, how much money hit her bank account?
$32,467.43.
And were you able to trace rehab expenses to this project?
Yes,
How much did you trace to this project?
188,000.
But there could be more that you were unable to trace.
There could be more. Yeah.
There could be more out of that pot of 400,000.
This was a big project and yes,
So at the end of the day, 32 minus the 188 left her losing $155,000 on this project,
at least that, yes,
maybe more.
yes.
Okay, Scott, let's back out of the whole shebang and go to the far right column. Okay, let's look at the numbers kind of off the page. There's 2 outlying numbers. The first is what does that 2.142 million mean?
That is her net equity in all of these projects. So I've taken, that's a horizontal sum. So negative 2.1 million that she was in the hole as soon as she purchased the projects.
Then we go down to that negative 469,000. What does that number mean?
That means again, that's a horizontal sum across all properties. What I estimate her net loss was on all those properties. Yes, net loss on all those properties.
So she lost 469,000 based on this accounting.
Right, and that doesn't include the 400,000 in additional expenses. Actually, it's 460,000 for all of the projects. So add that together, and then it also there's no net loss that I've included in this number for the properties that were lost in foreclosure.
Okay.
Because they weren't sold.
So this is only properties that were sold. She lost 469,000 plus another 460 that you were unable to directly trace to a project. So just on properties that were sold, forgetting about properties that were foreclosed, she lost over $900,000.
That's correct.
Scott, can you go to the Barney column?
Ah, Girl, don't you watch HTV? Don't you realize that you watch Rehab Addict or any of those other ones and you see they bought the house and then they realize there's always more work that needs to be done, and then you go and sell it and you get a profit, and then you go buy the next one and you hope that you're going to make a profit. Girl, you were already in the hole on project number 2. Dude. Oh, not good. Not good.
Okay, I just want to show the Barney column. I think, Your Honor, this would be a good time to pause, and we can come back and address the Barney house.
Very good. Folks, let's take a break. Please rise for the.
All right. They're going to take a break. I'm going to parse this out. So, ultimately, as you have seen, the forensic accounting person who, well, let's back up. This forensic accounting person was first hired by the estate of Eric Richins to go through financial documents, etc., to sort of settle a controversy of what was what. And when Eric passed, remember, everything went to Katie. She was, well, didn't go to Katie, but she was the trustee of the account. And then Kouri sued her, or sued the trust. So they hired a forensic accountant to say, hey, where is all of the money? Who has the money? Who gets what, etc. Once the state filed charges against Kouri, and this person has already done some of the accounting, I don't know if she left the trust one or she was done with that, and then the state hired her. So here we are. She is parsing out. She starts with the bank accounts, as you see. Where are the bank accounts? Where are things starting to go awry in the bank accounts? And then now she's going backwards and she's looking at Kouri's business and each one of the houses that she purchased, what all the expenses, etc., and sort of like, where was she declining? Like, where did things start going downhill, to paint the picture of how much in debt and pretty much how much Kouri was a bad business partner or bad business woman. Right? I mean, she just obviously just didn't go well for her. So that is where we are at. Let me know what you think. Do you think Kouri was great? Do you think that she should have been in this business, or you think after house number 1, she should have cut her losses and moved on? Like perhaps maybe she should have been a realtor for a while, sold some houses, built up her own line of equity or credit or her own financial backing, and then purchased another home and did like one a year or whatever. I mean, obviously she wanted to be this financial mogul person. And can you just imagine? Can you imagine she's like robbing Peter to pay Paul? So well, in that one bank statement in October, every week she's like, I need 10 grand. I need 20 grand. And where is the money coming from? Where's the money tree? That must have stressed her out. Ooh. All right. That's where we're going to end right now. We'll pick it up right after this break. Thanks for watching Legalese 123. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe for more content.